Well, now things take a rather unfortunate decline after the death of Pisistratus in 527 BC. Welcome back. We're now continuing in this video with the story of the aftermath of the tyranny of Pisistratus with his two sons, Hippias and Hipparchus. These two sons were brothers. Hippias was the older, and he therefore held the official position of tyranny after the death of his father. Initially, the tyranny continued in a positive means, very much in the same vein as that of his father, and all went well. However, it appears that at some point, Hipparchus had some kind of a relationship with this younger man, Harmodius. Now, Aristogeiton and Harmodius were an older and a younger man who had a relationship. And apparently Harmodius and Hipparchus had something that went awry between them. We're told this by the historian Thucydides, the one who is going to provide us a good part of the history of the major war, the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta, described in some later videos. So, as a consequence of this problem between Harmodius and Hipparchus, we're told that the tyrant Hippias denied a privilege that had been originally promised to the sister of Harmodius. The privilege was that she was supposed to be entitled during the great Panathenaic festival to carry a basket as part of the position of Coriatid, one of the maidens who was supposed to carry baskets to represent the grain that was grown on the fields in Athens. And unfortunately, that particular privilege was revoked because of this problem. That got these two very angry, and as a consequence of that, they decided to carry out an assassination. Now, the year in question when this occurred was 514 BC, and these two men, I will tell you in advance, got the reputation of being the tyrant slayers. Now, that's all well and good, except for one little problem. They actually didn't do that, according to the historian Thucydides. In fact, the term tyrant slayers was not actually a deserved one for Aristogeiton and Harmodius, because the story went in quite a different way from what we understand. So the thing about this story is that you have essentially two figures up at the top, two brothers. You have Hippias and Hipparchus. You have Hippias, who is the younger brother. Then you've got Hippias, the older brother. You have Hipparchus, who's the younger brother. So Hippias is the one in control, but the problem was that the actual conflict that sparked all of this was really in the ballpark of Hipparchus. So in effect, although Hippias was the one targeted, in a way he was rather the wrong target for the resolution of this personal problem, and yet of course he was the actual tyrant, so there was also an effort to bring the government down in itself. So the story goes that at a later festival, the plot was hatched to carry out the assassination. However, on the day of the assassination itself, someone looking off in the distance thought that he saw one of the co-conspirators talking to Hippias in a pleasant, genial manner, and immediately panicked, thinking that the plot had been divulged. He told that to his other co-conspirators, and they went into a panic. They started running around the city trying to find anybody whom they could get hold of who might be loyal to Hippias, and eventually they tracked down the brother Hipparchus in an alleyway and killed him. So thereafter, of course, these two were hunted down and killed themselves, and because they had targeted the tyrant, they came to be known as tyrant slayers, and groups of statues were put in different parts of the city of Athens itself, plus in other parts of the Greek world, when in fact, again, they hadn't really carried out the slaughter of a tyrant. In all events, though, this was a dramatic event in Athenian history, and it changed the course of Athenian governmental progress for good, because The previously benign ruler Hippias now turned into a real tyrant of the bad type, and he instituted a reign of terror in Athens. This lasted for about 3 years before eventually his opponents teamed up with the Spartans to bring in an army to invade the territory. And in the unrest that followed, Hippias was expelled from the city of Athens, and although there were efforts to reinstate him, his political opponents ended up gaining control and turning the government into a different direction. So effectively, the tyranny of the Pisistrates ends in a pretty bloody way in these years 514 down to 511 BC. Now we're going to turn in our next video to the actual figure of Cleisthenes. First of all, how he got himself into power, and then what he did with it. We'll see you shortly in the next video.